Hello, today's video is going to be about the Navy and 3D printers. Now, obviously, some people don't know what they are, and that being 3D printers. I mean, basically, it's a printer, not unlike your standard desktop printer, but this printer creates 3D objects by printing out layers of material on top of layers of other material, creating a three-dimensional product. But you can do a little research on the internet to get a more technical definition. However, what I'm referencing is an article I read. It's a little bit older. I mean, I just found it again and reread it, and it was like, oh, hey, it's interesting. Thought I'd make a video about it, to inform the public. It's about the Navy potentially using 3D printers in the future to resupply their ships with weapons and equipment. Basically, how that would work, instead of coming into port to resupply, they could stay out longer, and when they run low on weapons and equipment, or they even possibly need to get a piece of equipment that breaks down or something like that, and not have to come into port, they can fire up a 3D printer and create the product, the piece of equipment that they need, in the field, and not have to come all the way back home to port in order to repair, make the necessary repairs, thus being able to stay out longer. And then of course in the future they may just switch over to that entirely to be more efficient. Now, question raised is that, okay, one, how would the product work? Would the weapons that they create be sufficient? Would the parts that they create be really work, or would they last? And then the second part would be is if the Navy starts using 3D printers to create weapons and or spare parts, would this make it more financially beneficial? I mean, obviously, it would cost a lot less to create a part or a piece of equipment using a 3D printer than hiring a contractor to make it, or to buy those parts from a contractor, because then you have all the middleman expense involved. So would this actually be a cost-saving idea? I'd like to know what the YouTube community would think about our armed forces using 3D printers in the field to create weapons and or spare parts, so that they don't have to go back to home base to get a part for something that breaks down in the field, especially if leaving the area is more dangerous at a particular time than later. Saying you have a part that breaks down that's necessary, and at the current time you're in a conflict, but then you have to leave or risk leaving, because you can't go forward with a broken down piece of equipment. But my concern would be, well, I think that it would be more financially responsible or efficient to create the spare parts as needed, than instead of buying it ahead of time, or even buying from a contractor. As we know, a lot of contractors charge a lot of money for the parts and that, and the service such equipment. Obviously, that's the industry. But I would like to know from the YouTube community is that, what do you think about the Navy, or even the military in general, using 3D printers to print spare parts or even weapons and that? please let me know down in the comments section below, and I'll also think of making additional videos about how 3D printers can be utilized in the mainstream, not just for the military, maybe other government offices, as well as for commercial applications, you know, the everyday, you know, Joe average, you know. So, and I'll link to the article that I was talking about in the text or the body of this video, and you can read the article yourself and possibly come back and make a comment or even comment on it beforehand, and then go read the article. But as always, have a good day.